We're here with match number 1 with kind of an off-the-wall version of Burn, so we'll see how this plays out. Keep. And turn 1 scammed. No. It's like Nadu, possibly. I think we take the opportunity to slow them down. Nadu confirmed. I don't think we need another. Go in the Flame Rift here. Play with fire is potentially not terrible. Can only assume they're going to Nadu here, right? Which we're basically just going to ignore. Try to kill them before they can kill us. They would need Shuko and or something to go off here. So not the best of starts against them. You have to pick your poison, 2 Unholy Heat to bring in. Don't know what we cut yet. Probably the 4 copies of Lava Dart. So it's kind of funny, for like 40 some matches of Modern I didn't see Nadu, and then people continue to play it even though it's going to be banned in 2-3 weeks. So I guess people trying to prepare for their RCQs and stuff. But clearly was not expecting Burn with this kind of hand, so. Not that the Boros energy decks are a ton different than Burn, but it's going to let my opponent bleed clock. If they want to play a combo deck that takes potentially forever to win, and they're just continuing to bleed clock, then more power to them, I guess. Tarkus Command puts them to 7. Play with Fire puts them to 5. Tarkus Command will put them to 2. And if we draw one of our various other 1-mana burn spells, even Lava Dart, they're dead. Sure. Yep. These decks even play counter magic in the main right now? No. Okay. Yep. Mm-hmm. Actually, we may just use the not often used version of Atarka's command here of deal 3 damage, put a land on the battlefield. Sure. Cord for 1. Okay. Cast 3 damage. Put land on the battlefield. I'm going to do it during my upkeep. Yeah, I don't know what they're hoping to hit here or there. Mm-hmm. Whole lot of tire spinning for nothing. Okay, what on earth? Targeting Urza Saga. Okay. It's like, what am I missing that they're targeting? Not realizing the Urza Saga was chilling out. I mean, can kind of become a grindy matchup. D-Rev can kind of be relevant, maybe over a couple copies of Flame Rift. I mean, like, Lavadar hits some things, like specifically Nantuko, but guess we'll try it. This hand could literally be anything. Ten of the Bugbear, you say? Alright. Start by bobbling ourselves. Yeah, definitely don't want that one, so we're gonna do this. Fetch a basic, place with our Goblin Guide. Haywire Might, sure. Opponent fetches Haywire Might away. Does not seem like lands is going to be the problem then. Sure. Curious though, do we wait to save this for Nadu or do we hit it with a Urza Saga? Okay, looks like we're playing LD. So, what am I doing here? That's kind of annoying. Not gonna lie, that is exceptionally annoying. Now if they have Nadu, they just get to start going off, so. They notably do not. Okay. So they have Chord of Calling in hand, which I can currently chord for 0, which would be Dryad Arbor. Sure. Don't unfortunately think this is quite lethal, but yep, there's Nadu. Mm-hmm. So chord for 2 can only assume this is Nantuko. This was the way we waste our lives, waste our lives, waste our lives. This is the way we waste our lives. Do, 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 do. I guess the only nice thing is, technically they can't fetch with these fetch lands, so. Not that that really stops our opponent from kind of going off here, but. I mean, at this point, if our opponent has Thassa's Oracle in their deck, it is a deterministic kill, but we have no reason to let them off the hook time-wise, so... Verge Tender, which we already know about. Yeah, they probably actually shouldn't have put that to their hand, but I guess they wouldn't know the card that's likely to kill them here is Roiling Vortex. So... I mean, notably, if they spin into Thassa's Oracle, they can't cast it. So, because they're not going to be able to get blue mana here. At least not 2 untapped blue mana. Okay, they have one island. They usually play 2. Nope, just 1. If they've hit a chord here, they really should chord for Thassa's Oracle. So they're going to cast the Finale. Got it. Mm-hmm. Yep, put it at 656 instead of 653. Don't really think Roiling Vortex is all that great in the face of some of their nonsense. So bring that in. Bring a couple Lava Darts in, I guess. Crypt doesn't do much. That doesn't do anything. 4 lands mulligan. Keeping this, even though it's not the best of hands. I'll just go ahead and Lava Dart just to up the pressure a little bit. No reason to play this, play with fire out. Sure. Commercial district. Let's do the trigger first, see what we see. Where I might go. And I just successfully skipped combat, yay. That should be dead here, notably. Nice to pick up that one. All right, here for match 2 on the play. One lander, gonna be disciplined in mulligan. Into a no lander, sure. Okay, maybe we should have kept the one lander. And for a 5-card hand, this is reasonable enough. And that, done. Okay, Goblin Guide. Mirror match. Well, let's do a mirror match. This is one of the matchups where Flame Rift is pretty bad, honestly. Okay. They gonna fetch and bolt it, or what they doing? Sure. Flame Rift. Go. Eidolon? Yep, slick shot. Alrighty. Well. That gets to hit us for 5. So we're not up technically against the mirror, we're up against Prowess burn. Which is kind of annoying, but also whatever. Okay. Boros Charms, slightly terrifying. Lava Dart change the math. That goes to 9. Plays Boros Charm. Not exactly ideal here, but we'll roll with it. It's just a 1. Alright. Slick shot got us pretty decent there. Definitely want Clothis in. Don't want Flame Rift in this matchup. Don't want Roiling Vortex in this matchup. So I guess it's Unholy Heat. Questing Druids, perhaps. Picker Poison could potentially be okay. Because Lava Dart isn't great in this matchup either. Picker Poison can get a bunch of random things, like if they have Eidolon in their deck, if they have Vortex in their deck for some reason, etc. Well, that's We'll try it, but this hand is probably a trap. Bolt. Yeah, I think I'm interested in drawing a bolt. Basic mountain. Bolt the swift spear, go. Naturally. Fetch a basic mountain here. Actually, it's a commercial district. So I'm more likely to do, whatchamacallit here? Yeah, that's a good enough card. The old dreaded one-lander, huh? See, what are you drawing out? They're finally drawing their second land. Seek the beast. Seek the beast. 2 lands. Exactly what we wanted. We could easily have something like Searing Blaze here. Feels like what they're fetching for. Shocker. Effectively better path to exile. With the exception, of course, that we don't actually get to deal with a whatchamacallit, Sanctifier Invec if they have one. Play with fire. do lose some value on that, but I also didn't want to lose a land, so... Idle one? Nope, another slick shot. Okay. Goes to 7. And doesn't seem like they have Boros Charm plus Kill Us, so... Serum Blaze incoming. Apparently not. Mm-hmm. All right. Question is, what would I bring? Lava Dart over maybe Lava Spike? Yeah, Sand's got two problems for it. Number one, no creature removal. Number two, 4 lands. So we're definitely not keeping this one. Keep this one, put back a Tarka's Command. Swizzle Spear. It's in for 1. Just do Goblin Guy. This will be the 3rd creature type. Mm-hmm. Sure. Yep. Searing Blaze. Yep. And just skewer the crit. Nope, not this way. Okay. Alright, go. Rough Bolt, sure. We kind of eventually need that to win, so we'll keep it. I mean, it doesn't matter, they have a burn spell here and we're dead. Okay. Alright, here for match 3. Okay, Gigantha. This hand is pretty good overall. I think the thing you kind of have to realize is when you're testing a deck that was kind of, for lack of a better term, thrown together to attack certain parts of the meta, you're going to inevitably, walk into blind spots like Burn. And that's been historically like one of Burn's better things, is just the fact that, it's randomly good against people trying brews and nonsense. And, we have a couple things going here. Number one, we're not running Copperline Gorge, so we don't have that, like, automatic, non-pain source of green, which, that's number one. Number two, we have cards that are less than stellar in the burn mirror. We have, not Inspiring Vantage, we have Roiling Vortex, we have Flame Rift, both of which are absolutely terrible in the burn mirror. We're decently reliant upon our creatures to deal a reasonable amount of damage, so something like Searing Blaze is problematic. And then we don't have much in the way of life gain. The only life gain in our deck is the 2 copies of Klothys, which Klothys is more designed for kind of the attrition-y matchups, and as a slow way to deal with something like Flage. Just chip away at their graveyard, take away a key card in the graveyard, but it's meant to be the supplemental graveyard hate against something like, whether it be Flage, whether it be Garroyos. It's meant to be a card that just continues to chip away at your opponent, or against blue decks, if it resolves. Just something that they're going to force the action, somewhat like Roiling Vortex. Just kind of forces them to, play cards that are, or play at a pace that they're not thrilled with necessarily. So I have like 2 choices here. I could hold Mishra's Bauble and hope to rip, another Swift Spear or something like that, but without like Slick Shot and that kind of stuff. It's just kind of whatever. So get some idea of what we're up against. Flooded Strand. That could be any number of things. That could be Nadu again. That could be some type of blue control deck, etc. So, with all the stops, I'm guessing some type of blue control nonsense. Guy, perhaps. Looks like. Yeah. This is a matchup where Lava Dart's probably going to be less than ideal. Go ahead. So I probably should have chained a Targus command main phase into this is going to be a weird one, but secret mode on Tarkus command. Definitely don't want another land there. Your opponent not going to sacrifice a land to do some damage here. Why would you do that during your upkeep? It's not going to change the card you're drawing during your... Oh, wait, they never mind. They knew about Ragavan, probably from Periodoin. What did they do? Scry 2 to the top. So it just looks like we're up against Murktide. Alright, what you got? Another land. May as well do this while they're tapped out, put them to 5. Definitely one of the arguments against something like DRC. Makes the yeah, it's gonna be a Murktide. 7/7 Murktide into a Ragavan, sure. Go ahead. EI, let's go. Sure. Alright. Do this main phase, get a little bit of extra information. Yep. Alright. Stole game 1 against Murktide. So, what is Murky Murk playing these days? Ragavan. So they're playing. Looks like everybody's playing a whole bunch of Murktides, DRCs, Ragavans, Tamios, usual nonsense in the sideboard. I don't know if they get a Klothos off the board ever. 4 Questing Druids, 2 Unholy Heats. I mean, we could basically bring in our entire sideboard other than D-Rev. Tarka's Command's kind of trash. Flame Rift's kind of trash. Roiling Vortex, honestly, is kind of trash. So, I mean, seems good enough to me. I mean, not the greatest of hands, but not the worst, I suppose, either. Keep. Pretty good opening hand, I should say. Turn 1 DRC. Could bolt that immediately, but Ragavan's obviously a much bigger threat if they just kind of jam. Well, wish I knew I was drawing that, but here's what it is. DRC. It's got to react now. Lava Spike's a perfectly fine card. Yep. 4. Another DRC. Okay. Basic Mountain. dear sea. Creature. Bolt. Yep. Land. Card on top of their library, sure. Possible I should have left Goblin Guide on top, but okay. Please continue. No reason to cast anything currently. It's kind of unlikely to have anything other than maybe a Surveil land or just another land period. Yep. Because you know, they're not playing things like Vendilion Click or Brazen Borrower for the most part. Preordain. Commercial District. Yeah, at this point we're looking for burn spells. Burn spells, Clothuses, you know, things our opponents just gotta deal with. So at this point, every land in our deck is untapped, I do believe. So even lands aren't terrible right now. Put Jiggy in hand, no sense in casting Lava Spike. I know a lot of burn players are just like, empty your hand as quickly as possible against blue decks. It's like, yeah, you can, but you're just kind of playing into their game by doing that. This might actually bait a counterspell out of them, which is hilarious. Just going to go ahead and immediately pop it, so Murktide's a terrible draw. I mean, theoretically they can cast a Murktide, but then it's just a 3/3, so... I will cast DRC, not that it does much here, but probably will chomp some type of counterspell. Sure. That actually could have been very bad if they would have gotten that, but... it's a pretty good one to have in the face of most of their creatures. I think our opponent was likely to try to cast him Ragavan there, most likely. So Kenzan would actually be kind of a hilarious draw. Alright, that's less than ideal, but we'll continue to play out our lands kind of thin the deck a little bit. Like, I'm not going to be taking a game action here, but other than fetching. Opponent pitches. Stern Scolding. Sure. Finally dashing that Ragavan we thought they had. Nope, they're casting a Murktide Regent. Okay, well. Very good chance the Seek the Beast gets countered, but not much we can do about that. That's kind of surprising. Okay. Player sacrifices a creature with flying. I say the spell snare they've probably been sitting on all game. Sure. Unless you have force of negation, you're just dead here. Has to pick up a win against Murktide. Alright, match number 4. Huh. I think we'll keep this one on draw. In fact, we basically get draw step, Mishra's Bauble, draw step to find a second land. Seems pretty decent. Not sure what we're up against, but good chance it's who knows, honestly. Alright, Meticulous Archive, so decent chance we're up against. Yep. Solitude's annoying as heck, but what can we do? Sure. Opponent's got a frog. Opponent's got a frog. 12 minutes of tanking about a burn spell. Opponent's got a frog. Yep. You have the Garroyos to match it. Turn 3, go bullshit. Alright. So, Clothis in. Tormod's Crypt in. Pick your poison. Unholy Heat, both of those are kind of debatable. Questing Druid, maybe. Definitely want the Lava Darts out. There's the next worst card. Play with Fire at least answers Grief and Solitude. So if we bring those in, be Flame Rift out. Could be Roiling Vortex out. Probably Flame Rift. Pick your poison. Unholy Heat. Kind of things are kind of whatever after the damage is done there. So. I think on the draw, on the play, we have to mulligan that one. Sand isn't great. Keep it. Put back. Lost Spike, I guess. Which is absolutely hilarious. They think that is a good card against us. Tainted Indulgence. Okay. Yeah, good timing on that one. Down with Bugbear, huh? So if you want to play your Solitude, you're going to have to pay it now. So I'm going to be much more inclined to bring in Flame Rift on the draw. Or Flame Rift against this particular nonsense. Yeah. If you want to keep your frog around, it's not going to cost you 2 more cards at least. May as well go all in at this point, I suppose. Don't think there's any combination of cards gets us out of Frog Bowl stuff, but you know. course, they draw a Celestial Purge there. Anyways, moving on. Alright, last match. Definitely keeping this hand. I mean, Commercial District is a little awkward, but basic island go. Probably the best turn to draw DRC. So who the heck knows what we're up against? Okay. I'm fine with that. Am I about to get temporary lockdown, or am I about to get Teferied? Wrath of the Skies. Funny part is, if they would have waited a turn, yes, they would have taken a lot of damage, but they would have been in a lot better shape. Does this resolve? It does. No Force of Negation, here we go. Second Wrath of Skies would be kind of annoying, but don't think we're playing around that right now. What in the format would you be playing main deck Mexing? Yeah, Vexing Bauble for? Okay. Mm-hmm. That to hand. That goes to 4. So this is probably ring, untap ring, cast another ring. Well, isn't that a pleasure? Notably, ring damage is life loss, so... Mm-hmm. What on earth did I walk into? Mm-hmm. Alright. Solitary confinement control. Alright, so close this in, pick your poison in, derev in, Questing Druid in, Lava Dart out, Flamer gets her own ley line, which I would not be surprised if that's in our opponent's deck. Do I take out Mishra's Bauble because my opponent has Vexing Bauble in their deck? Maybe that's the tower card. Yeah, I'm liking this hand. Mm-hmm. Let's get in damage while we can. Okay, so they did leave Vexing Bauble in their deck, so I feel a lot more justified. Sure. A lot more justified taking out Mishra's Bauble. Teferi or something dumb. Yep, Solitary Confinement. Really do need to find a copy of D-Rev or something, but in the meantime, here we go. Has to pitch a card. Do they have a land? Fortunately, they do. Yep, there's the One Ring. Mm-hmm. So we have a couple outs. We have Pick Your Poison and D-Rev. So I think we'll go Surveilling here. I think that is good enough. On Earth. Okay. Interesting timing on a Supreme Verdict. Spell Snare. It dies during their upkeep. Alright, so we're back with a wrap on Gruul Burn. I've played this deck, something similar to it, a couple months ago. Wasn't all that impressive. This round, things are a little different. I think last round I was mainly testing for Giganta. Giganta's fine. I mean, you can easily give up Giganta if you want to play something like Searing Blaze. that's perfectly reasonable as you're playing a burn-esque, burn prowess deck. I mean, the main things with this one is I wanted the more 1-drops, DRC and Bobble. I don't really want to be playing Skewer and Riftbolt. I'm not saying they're terrible cards. You could certainly play them if you want to shave these 4 and try for, kind of a more traditional burn build. But things I liked about this build, the 12 1-drops were kind of nice. Lava Dart is hit and miss. In some ways, this is kind of like Searing Blaze in that, in the matchups where it's good, it's very good. Popping, DRCs that don't have Delirium, Ragavans, different things out of the energy decks. So definitely kind of on the upswing with Lava Dirt. I mean, there are certainly some matchups where this is a terrible card and one of the easy cards to sideboard out. But, it does obviously help with your triggering of DRC Delirium, card selection, and obviously making Monastery Swiftspear a better card. Lava Spike, I mean, you're playing a burn deck, kind of don't leave home without it. 4 bolts, obviously kind of a staple. 2 Play with Fire, I mean, this is still, I think, the best other 1-drop spell. I mean, certainly you have Shard Volley, you have Rangers, whatever one that we played in the Boros deck last time, Rangers Firebrand or whatever. And there are other 1-drops. You could play something like Wild Slash, if you could more, especially if you're playing like Slick Shot Show Off or something. But, pretty happy with this kind of setup, other than maybe 4 Lava Darts is too many. Maybe you can go like 3 and 3. Flame Rift, I've never been a huge fan of this card in Modern. I really think a lot of matchups can come down to racing situations. And much like Eidolon or cards like that, this card can be very double-edged. In matchups, against control decks, against Leyline Sanctity, against decks that are, just casting a bunch of spells like Storm, even Nadu that doesn't really win with just like arbitrary damage. This is, not Boros Charm, but 4 damage is 4 damage, and, dealing 4 damage to yourself kind of sucks. But in matchups that aren't counter-pressuring your life total, I think it's fine. But, as we saw, like in the Burn Mirror, this can actually be a very detrimental card. Roiling Vortex, I mean, your choices really in this slot are basically you're playing Vortex, you're playing Eidolon, or you're playing Slick Shot. In any of these, like, red-based aggressive decks in the format right now, whether it's Burn or Prowess. You're playing Vortex, the main things this is good against, obviously Living End and Rhinos, not that those are a huge part of the meta right now. It's reasonable against anybody trying to plot things against you. It's good against Mishra's Bobble. But, it's anti-life gain stuff in the main deck, which isn't great, but it's okay against Boros Energy. Potentially keeping them from getting out of range with Ocelot Pride and Goddess Souls and all that, although holding up the 1 mana can be quite costly. And then 4 copies of Atarka's Command. Now, Atarka's Command used to be a staple of, Naya Burn. And it's a card that a lot of people just don't know how to play around anymore. I mean, Skullcrack, sure, that's fine. A card that people know how to play around. Has the nice claws against the ring. Whereas Atarka's Command, you can do some weird stuff with it. Obviously, 3 damage opponent can't gain life. Skullcrack-esque. You can put a land in the battlefield. That's popped up a couple of occasions. Allows you to chain some situations where you may not be able to win otherwise. And then obviously if you're in a go wide, like say turn 1 DRC, turn 2 second DRC, say Goblin Guide, and then turn 3 like Atarka's Command, go off, can be quite nice. So I did want to, pour out one for the OG here, Atarka's Command, and it was fine in this league. Now, the sideboard is where things get a little weird. So a lot of these lessons are lessons that I've learned from playing a bunch of Gruul Prowess. Tormod's Crypt, you just need hard graveyard hate, whether it be against Storm, Garroyos, Murktide. There's just a couple matchups where this is pretty reasonable. Klothys, it was an experimental card this league. I've played it at various different points, both here on the Nexus Red channel and on MTG Nexus when Burn was the focus over on that channel. It's a card I've always kind of had a soft heart for. It's like it's like Flage at home, for lack of a better term. It's seen some play over the years in like Gruul Ponza. It's seen some play in some of the Gruul aggressive decks. It's never really been a great card, and with the advent of things like Teferi and Leyline Binding, Prismatic Ending, March of the Rolly Light, it doesn't like guarantee stay on the battlefield like it used to, but it can be a reasonable card, gain you a little bit of life, be a slow graveyard hate piece along with your Tormod's Crypts, more of kind of like targeting if your opponent discards things in advance, with Garroyos or Storm or any of those kind of things. You can kind of chip away at their graveyard while incidentally chipping away at other things. But not the greatest card. It was okay. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say this is Flage or this was a great card or that we're ever turning it into a creature or any of that nonsense. But it was fine for what we've had. Destructive Revelry, pairing with Pick Your Poison. It's just nice to have a split on your removal cards. I do think the minimum of smash / naturalize effects you want is usually 4. Whether that be Wear Tear, Smash, Fragmentize, I wanted to say Byforce, but that's the Threaten effect. Shattering Spree, Meltdown. While artifact decks aren't a huge part of the format right now, I mean, just the incidental cards that you're hitting, out of Nadu, you're hitting Urza Saga, Nadu, and Shuko. The ring decks generally have some artifacts with them. The D-Rev can deal damage in that regard. And then Unholy Heat, one of the problems about playing non-white burn decks in the past was the lack of good removal spell for X5s and, well, for that matter, X4s and greater. Unholy Heat really solved a lot of that problem, especially when your deck you're already trying to trigger Delirium for DRC. It gives you a couple like Path to Exile-esque things. Now, obviously, it doesn't kill everything. Notably, sometimes it doesn't kill Murktide Region. It sometimes struggles to kill Frog. All of which are cards that can give Burn / Prowess fits. This card's just... It's the best we got in a non-Path to Exile capacity. And the main reason I wanted to play this version was testing out Questing Druid. Now, this is a card that pops up in, obviously, the standard red aggro decks, pops up in Pioneer, and it's been popping up a good amount in the Gruul Prowess decks, whether it be the Brian Boss variants or the, the Gruul Energy, Unstable Amp Raptor, Galvanic Discharge shells. Really gives you the ability to kind of grind. I think when you find the right mix with that, it makes you have a okay-ish matchup against the energy decks in particular. I don't think it's going to fix the black-based mid-range decks, especially the ones built around Frog. I think that's going to continue to be a bit of a rough matchup, especially for the Prowess decks. And then, Nadu is Nadu. I mean, I think I've played against Nadu like 2 or 3 times in the last several leagues. I believe 2-1, but could easily have been 3-0 between Prowess and Burn, with the one Prowess loss kind of being to a not really thinking through my surveils during my upkeep. So it's not that I think the Nadu matchup is great. I just think it's fine, and I'm not really going to put a lot of brain energy into trying to figure out something when I'm not, actively competitively playing like challenges or RCQs or any of that. When I'm just kind of sitting back, grinding leagues, trying to iterate on burn, give people the most options, the most, different looks at things. Nadu is certainly a deck that I keep in mind, but it's not a deck that I'm going to overly think about because I don't think it's. Maybe this is being recorded on the 8th. The video will probably go up like next Tuesday or Wednesday, so 14th or 15th. It's maybe got another 2 or 3 weeks in the format, so I'm not going to put a ton of energy. And finally, Gigantha. Gigantha was fine. Like I said, if you want to play like Searing Blaze in some of these slots, or Eidolon instead of Roiling Vortex, you can easily cut this Gigantha, but it does kind of throw people off a little bit when you Gigantha and you open on Goblin Guy. It's like, wait, what? So Gigantha is mainly obviously the energy decks, but anyways, if you like burn content, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hope to see you for our next video.